She doesn't choose the nicest man. Not the man who buys her gifts. Not the one who opens the door or pays for dinner. She chooses the man who makes her feel something she can't explain. Something raw, chaotic, magnetic. You can follow all the conventional rules. Dress well, smell good, be polite. You can compliment her, laugh at her jokes, listen attentively, and still watch her walk straight into the arms of a man who doesn't do half of what you do, and the truth will cut deeper than you're ready for. She doesn't fall for effort. She falls for energy. I lived that truth. I was the one who followed the textbook. I read the advice, applied it perfectly, became the man every woman should want, on paper. And still, every time, it ended the same. A polite smile. A gentle, "You're so sweet, but let's just be friends." Or worse, silence. Ghosted. Left watching her invest in someone who didn't even try. And that's when it hit me. Attraction isn't about being nice. It isn't about safety. It isn't about being the man who checks all the right boxes. It's about emotion. What you trigger inside her without trying to. So I stopped chasing approval and started chasing truth. I studied. I tested. I changed. Not by becoming someone else, but by shedding the mask. And in that space, I found 7 traits that shifted everything. 7 ways of being that ignite desire in women on a deeper, more primal level. Not tricks, not manipulation. Alignment, presence, power. And the first, the one that changes everything, is this. He is not needy. Neediness is the death of desire. It's not about texting too often or being too available. It's the energy of a man who needs her validation to feel valuable. He laughs too hard at her jokes. He agrees with everything she says. He floods her with compliments she didn't ask for. He's trying too hard to win her over, and she feels it. She doesn't see confidence. She sees desperation. And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who doesn't know his worth. Now picture the opposite. A man who is warm, grounded, present. He's engaged, but not attached. He's enjoying the moment, not chasing a goal. He doesn't need her to like him. He likes himself. That's rare. That's magnetic. Because what's rare is valuable. When you let go of needing a response to feel whole, your presence becomes a gift, not a transaction. You stop performing. You start living. And she feels the shift. She senses your peace, your stillness. And it pulls her in. Not because you're trying, but because you're not. Neediness tries to compensate for lack. But attraction flows from fullness. Say what you mean. Mean what you say. Don't say it for applause. Say it because it's your truth. The next time you feel the urge to impress, pause, breathe. Let the moment be. Let her come to you. That calm, steady confidence speaks louder than any line you could deliver. It says, "I know who I am. I don't need to be chosen. I choose myself." And from that place, everything changes. Which brings us to the second trait. He values his time. When a man honors his time, he sends a message without speaking a word. He shows her he has direction, purpose, and priorities. He isn't waiting by the phone. He isn't available 24/7. He doesn't cancel his plans just to be with her, because his life has meaning, with or without her. And that, paradoxically, makes her want to be part of it. Men who are always available lose value. If you answer instantly, drop everything for her, linger in endless small talk. What are you saying? That your time is worthless. And if your time is worthless, so are you. Now think of a man who is deliberate. He checks his phone on his schedule, not hers. He plans his week. He keeps his commitments. And when he makes space for her, it feels earned, not handed out. That contrast creates desire. This is not about playing games. It's about balance. When you treat your time like gold, so will she. If she texts and you're working, respond when you're free. No guilt, no panic. If she wants to meet and it doesn't fit, suggest another day. Not from coldness, but from clarity. Women are drawn to men who are building something, who are in motion. She wants to step into a life that's already moving, not one that revolves around her. Time is power. Use it wisely. Because when she senses that you are selective with where you invest, she'll want to be one of your choices. But there's another form of energy that reaches even deeper. The third trait, he has humor and playfulness. This one is underestimated by nearly every man trying to be serious enough to impress. But attraction lives in the space of lightness. The man who can turn a tense moment into laughter, who can make her feel safe enough to drop her guard, unlocks something sacred. Playfulness isn't immaturity, it's mastery. It shows emotional intelligence. It says, I see you, and I choose joy. Think of the guy who makes a clever joke when she's indecisive at dinner, who challenges her playfully in conversation, who knows when to lean in and when to pull back with a grin. That emotional agility is captivating. It disarms her. It makes her feel something she doesn't feel with men who try to impress her by being serious all the time, because fun creates contrast, and contrast creates memory. When she laughs with you, she lowers the walls she's built to protect herself from the dull, the desperate, and the dishonest. Laughter opens the door, but it's character that keeps it open. And this is where most nice guys fall short. They can be polite, they can be kind, but if they can't ignite a spark, if they can't invite her into the dance of emotion, she forgets them. They vanish into the fog of good intentions. But the man who makes her feel joy, who makes her feel alive, he stays. Not because he tries to stand out, but because he simply is. And when she starts associating you with feeling good, she doesn't want the night to end. She wants more. She chases the feeling, not the facts, not the resume, the feeling. Yet even joy must be grounded in truth. Because what truly separates the magnetic man from the rest is his ability to own his perspective, which leads us to the next trait. He stands by his truth, not to argue, not to dominate, but to exist fully. In a world where so many men fold their opinions just to be liked, the man who calmly holds his stance without aggression becomes unforgettable. Most think that agreeing with everything she says will make them more likable, but the opposite is true. She doesn't want a mirror. She wants a man, a presence, someone whose words carry weight because they come from within, not from a desire to please. Imagine this. She makes a statement you don't fully agree with. Most men would nod along, fake a smile, pretend they see the world the same way. But you listen, you smile, and then you share your perspective. Clearly, respectfully, unapologetically. You don't argue, you don't lecture, you simply reveal who you are. That moment, it's electric. Not because you're defiant, but because you're real. Authenticity is rare, and what's rare becomes magnetic. When you stop editing yourself to match her expectations, you invite real attraction, because you are no longer hiding. You're not trying to win her. You're revealing yourself and letting her decide. That alone separates you from the noise. The men who never take a stand fade. The ones who do, who own their truth with grace, become a force she can't forget. You don't need to be confrontational. You need to be clear. You don't have to be right. You have to be honest. If you say what you mean and mean what you say, and you're willing to walk away rather than betray yourself, that is power. And power creates polarity. Polarity creates tension. Tension creates attraction. That's how desire works. And that's why the next trait matters just as much. He is courageous. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the refusal to let fear dictate action. Most men wait for signs, for certainty, for some magical moment where all risk is gone. But that moment never comes. So they wait forever. Meanwhile, she's watching. She's waiting too, but not for perfection. She's waiting for boldness, for movement, for the man who acts when others hesitate. Picture a man walking up to her, not with a cheesy pickup line, not with over-rehearsed charm, but with grounded presence. He says, "There's something about your energy I couldn't ignore. I had to come say hi." Simple, clear, no neediness, no theatrics. That's courage. Or imagine this, they've been talking, the chemistry's building, the moment is alive, and he doesn't stall. He leans in and kisses her, not forcefully, but confidently, because he feels the pull, because he trusts the moment. That level of courage is intoxicating. It tells her you trust yourself, and if you trust yourself, she can trust you too. But when you hesitate, when you overthink, when you stall and spiral in uncertainty, you communicate one thing: doubt. And doubt kills attraction faster than any bad line ever could. Next time you feel the urge to act, do it. Speak, move, lead, even if it's messy, even if it's not perfect. Because the willingness to act separates men who remain invisible from those who leave a mark. Courage opens the door. But presence, true, attentive presence, is what makes her stay. And that leads us to the next trait. The one most men completely misunderstand. He makes her feel special, without putting her on a pedestal. Most men think women want to be constantly flattered, told they're beautiful, sexy, gorgeous. And while compliments have their place, the truth is, she's heard it all before. She already knows what her reflection looks like. What she rarely hears is this: a man noticing the spark in her eyes when she talks about something she loves, the way her voice lifts when she's excited, the strength in her ideas, the way she commands presence when she's passionate. When you see her, not just her beauty but her essence, you offer something she doesn't get from every other man. You make her feel understood. And when a woman feels deeply understood, the attraction shifts. It deepens. It lasts. It's not about trying to impress her. It's about observing her, feeling her, reflecting back the parts of her that others overlook. Don't say she's hot. Everyone does. Say you admire the conviction in her voice. Say you love how animated she becomes when she talks about her dream. Say you noticed how she paused to help someone else before thinking of herself. These aren't lines. These are reflections of presence. When a woman feels seen, truly seen, she lets her guard down. Not because you flattered her, but because you witnessed her. And witnessing is a form of intimacy that goes far deeper than praise. But there's a caveat. If you can see her clearly, you must also be strong enough to hold your own ground, because nothing will destroy that spark faster than a man without boundaries. He has limits, and he honors them. The man who knows where he stands commands respect. And respect, more than charm or chemistry, is the foundation of lasting attraction. Most men think being agreeable makes them more appealing. That saying yes to everything, tolerating anything and avoiding conflict will make her stay. But it doesn't. In fact, it has the opposite effect. Because the moment you betray yourself to please her, you teach her you are not to be taken seriously. And here's the truth. Women test boundaries, not to be cruel, but to feel your core, to know if there's a man behind the smile. If she teases you, disrespects your time, pushes your limits, it's not a trap. It's a signal. She wants to know, will you fold or will you stand? The man who calmly says no when something doesn't feel right, who doesn't argue but doesn't bend, who can walk away without bitterness. That man radiates strength, not arrogance, integrity. She may not say it, but she'll feel it. Because in a world full of men who change their values to keep her, you remind her what real self-worth looks like. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to be cruel. You just have to be clear. You respect yourself. You protect your energy. You don't tolerate disrespect. And when that becomes your baseline, she steps into your frame, not because you forced her, but because she feels safer there. Because in your presence, she doesn't have to lead. She can relax. She can soften. She can want. And that shift, from tension to surrender, is where real desire begins to bloom. When a woman senses that your life is full, your presence grounded, and your sense of self unshakable, something changes. She stops analyzing and starts feeling. She stops comparing and starts surrendering. Because finally, she's encountered a man who isn't trying to impress her, but a man who knows himself so deeply that her attraction becomes a natural byproduct, not a prize. And in this space, attraction becomes effortless. Not because you said the perfect thing, but because everything about you says, I don't need to chase you. I live in alignment. You can join me or not. I'll be just fine. That's not indifference. That's self-possession. And it's the difference between being remembered or being passed over. The men who remain invisible are not necessarily unattractive. They're just forgettable because they lack tension. They lack mystery. They give too much, too soon. They reveal their whole hand before she's even decided to play. But you? You move with intention. You reveal layers, not all at once, but gradually, like a story worth reading. And she leans in, not because you beg for her interest, but because you never needed it to begin with. This is the truth most men never hear. Women don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with polarity, with the dance of contrasts, soft strength, calm boldness, gentle certainty. And the most powerful men embody this effortlessly, not because they studied it in a book, but because they lived it. They let go of needing to be liked. And instead, they focused on being real, on being whole. That's what creates sexual tension. That's what awakens curiosity. That's what makes her heart race. Not because you followed a script, but because you broke the pattern. You became the exception. And the exception always captures attention, because it's not the man who flatters her that she remembers. It's the man who saw her soul and refused to abandon his own to keep her. So you stop chasing. You stop explaining. You stop auditioning for a role you were born to play. And in that stillness, you become magnetic. You're no longer affected by her mood, her response, her delay in texting back. You've built something deeper than technique, inner gravity. And that's the final transformation. You don't just become attractive to women, you become unforgettable to the right woman, because you no longer seek to be enough. You realize you already are. You no longer mold yourself to be chosen, you become the chooser. And the irony is, that's exactly what draws her in. A man who doesn't need her, yet sees her. A man who doesn't chase her, yet values her. A man who would love her deeply, but will never love her more than he loves his own truth. You become the storm in her calm, the fire in her stillness, the one man who doesn't follow the path, because he is the path. And she feels it. In your words, in your silence, in the way you look at her without blinking, not as if you're seeking approval, but as if you're measuring whether she's earned a place in your world. And that shift, subtle, silent, sacred, redefines the game. She begins to show up differently. She texts first. She asks to see you. She puts effort into her appearance, into her presence, not because you demanded it, but because you activated something dormant. You reawakened her desire to impress, not out of insecurity, but out of reverence, because real feminine energy craves a worthy challenge. It doesn't want to be worshipped, it wants to be inspired, and the only man who can do that is the one who isn't looking for her validation. You've now become a mirror, not a magnet. She sees herself in your reflection, and either rises to meet you or fades away. And you don't chase, you observe. Because the man you've become doesn't need to pursue, he attracts. He doesn't beg, he invites. He doesn't lower his standard, he holds his frame. And the ones who are ready will step forward, not because you manipulated them, but because you embodied the one thing most men avoid: masculine truth. And this truth has rules. It says, I will not shrink to be loved. I will not lie to be liked. I will not settle to be accepted. And when she meets that level of certainty, she either runs or she surrenders. And when she surrenders, not with her body, but with her soul, you'll know you've done something few men ever do. You've reached her, not through words, not through wealth, but through essence. That essence doesn't need approval. It doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need tricks. It simply is. And when she feels it, truly feels it, her walls melt, her pride fades, her excuses vanish. Because finally, she's met a man who doesn't need to be chosen, but who is deeply, deeply choosable. A man who won't chase her, but if she's ready, he'll lead her somewhere her heart's never been. Now you understand what makes a man sexually attractive to women. It's not money. It's not looks. It's not perfect timing or the most clever message. It's presence, power, polarity, the absence of need, the presence of choice, the refusal to betray your core for a temporary thrill, and the courage to reveal yourself fully, even when it's uncomfortable. You are no longer here to impress, you are here to express, and the man who expresses without fear becomes the man who leaves a mark, not just in her memory, but in her soul. So don't become someone new, become someone true. Let go of the script, drop the act, step into your edge, speak your truth, defend your boundaries, lead with grace, act with courage, love with presence, and let the world meet the man you were always meant to be. Because when you do, you'll no longer wonder why she didn't stay. You'll know exactly why she couldn't walk away.